Welcome to Tales from the Streets. Here's what our narrator has to say. Before you judge me, let me tell you my story first, okay? I've had enough from friends and family that my ear is bent. That one don't do me, Biko. So, in the spirit of gisting, let me tell you my story. I met my current boyfriend at an old school reunion. I have known James for over 25 years. He was my senior at school. I never had any serious interactions with him while we were at school, and likewise. The only thing I remember about him is that one day he punished me for leaving the dining hall with food. At another time, he called me to run an errand for him. I didn't think he liked me because he never said anything to me. He would just look at me and look away like, you this girl. So James and I met 2 years back at the reunion, and it was a reunion. I'd been divorced for about 2 years. I have just one child, a girl who's 6 years old now. What led to my divorce? Oh, my ex just wouldn't stop beating me every time we quarreled. One day I got tired of the abuse and pulled a knife on him. He moved out the next day. He said he was afraid I would eventually kill him. He was right. That thought had crossed my mind. But I will never know whether I was truly able to kill him or not. But with stories of women killing their husbands every day in the news, the rascal borrowed himself brain and ran like a coward he is. He moved in with his mistress shortly afterwards and filed for divorce. I didn't contest it. I was relieved. As for James, he too was getting a divorce at that time. He'd been separated from his wife for about a year, and at that time they had 2 young twin boys. Anyway, today is not the day to talk about my ex. So as I was saying, James, my boyfriend, said so many things about his wife. She nagged, she was lazy, she was a woman who couldn't hold down a job. She was always critical of him, she never supported him. She was generally a witch of a woman, so he asked for a divorce. He moved out of the house, and they were in the process of divorce when we met. That was the reason I didn't feel bad going out with him. I hadn't been with a man for about 3 years because I wasn't sleeping with my husband even before he left the house. James and I are adults, so we pretty much knew what we wanted. He was nice to me. He encouraged me to fully go into my business. At that time, I was selling smoothies and fresh fruits. And James encouraged me to quit my job, my full-time job, to focus on it. He said Nigerians have begun to adopt healthy lifestyles. I will make good money delivering smoothies, healthy drinks, and I could even add healthy meals to it. And indeed, I did just that. And so far, I've had no regrets. I bake cakes and cookies as well. The money isn't tumbling in yet, but I can put a comfortable roof over my daughter's head and pay the outrageous school fees. Things started well with James and I, but after a year or so, I began to see him for who he truly is. They say the veil was lifted off my eyes. At that time, we were living together, partially. He sometimes came to spend the weekend at my place, and on days when he didn't need to get to work early, like weekends or public holidays, he would just come by after work and be there until the first day of work. After a while, he started spending more time in my house than at his place, but that was okay by me. I had no problems with that because I wouldn't have moved to his place since I had a young child. So what did I notice? First, as you see me so, I don't like sloppy men. A man has to be neat, pick up his own clothes and undies because I am no one's nanny. But James would eat and leave his plates on the table, drink, then leave cups and cans of empty beer lying around. Where was the house help? My daughter is still young, though she runs small errands, but I didn't want her picking up his dirty socks or shirts or boxers or cans of beer. She's just 6. At first, I picked up after James, but I kept telling him that I would like him to pick up his own stuff, especially since I had no maid. I work hard, and I don't want to go home and start nursing my daughter and a bigger child. But James wouldn't stop. And many days I worked late. I would get home to find James waiting for me to come and cook for him. I said, come on. I didn't sign up for this. I'm not a young girl hungry for a man by all means. If a man can't bring anything to the table, Pico, shift. What's more, he began to borrow money that he never returned. He would promise to do something for me and renege. Fix the plumbing, he would forget. Light bulb, long story. It was soon obvious to me that this guy might actually have been the problem in his marriage. I was soon to discover that the so-called divorce hadn't even been fully done. His wife was still asking people to convince him to return home. I heard she had been telling people that I was responsible for her man leaving the house. Nekwam, I wasn't even at the scene when their wahala started. But you know what? She's more than welcome to have him. I don't tire. The only snag is that the bagger doesn't want to go. But he will go. He will. His wife should come and take him. I can't deal with this spoilt brat. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.